Hi, my name's C.F. Koehler, and this is the Sailing Yacht Sally on her 95th birthday. Hello, my name is Sally. I am a 10-meter sloop. 10 meters are not my length, but a formula that has to do with several of my dimensions. It's a design rule that came popular in the 20s, so skippers didn't have to argue about handicaps. Does that sound familiar? I was built in Germany and came over to the U.S. with my 13 sisters in 1927. We were the hot new youngsters on Long Island Sound. I've seen a lot of boats come and go in my time, big heavy ocean racing schooners, and then came the newer yawl rig boats. My bigger cousins, the 12 meters, the J-class America Cup boats, and in my later life, I sailed with the Cruising Club of America design boats, and then the International Offshore Rule IOR fleet, and then the ultralights. And for some reason, the bigger the transom, the more I had to look at it. Something about history is, the more it changes, the more it remains the same. So here we are, it's the 50th anniversary of Yachting Cup, and think of how the boats have changed since 1972. And now you're sitting on this boat, and it's 1927 boat, 95 years old. And think of what's happened, right? At the end of the Roaring 20s, and a pandemic, right? And then here comes the Great Depression, the Second World War. You know, think about all the things that happened in our history, several generations of lifetimes, and we're still sailing this boat. So the concept of this boat was that you could have a couple of professional sailors, and then you could have a crew of amateurs. So the owner's party, think of sailing in the 20s, right? The owner's party are aristocrats. They're very wealthy. This is their toy. They have a mega yacht of the day, okay? And they have a couple paid hands that are the brains of the operation, do the heavy lifting, and then they can go yachting. You can go yacht racing. Think the 1927 version of Yachting Cup on Long Island Sound. And now we fast forward today. So who is the crew? We have a couple of pros, myself and my wife and a couple other people that it's not our first rodeo. And, you know, a knuckle dragger like me to help pull the heavy lines and get the sails up. And then a bunch of people that kind of fit in the middle, and they don't have to be the best skilled at it. And funny thing is, the boat still works for that. You know, the whole wooden boat thing is a discussion that we really don't have time for now. But I took the boat to my boat yard and did what I did to the last 30 or so boats that my customers had. I took it all apart and put it all back together, kind of the same way, but I used state-of-the-art adhesives and coatings and things. So that's kind of simplified the maintenance program a little bit. And, you know, for me, I like shiny, beautiful things on boats. I think it's personal pride for me, and I think people enjoy that. So there's a little bit more degree of effort to make the boat beautiful, rather than just everything kind of a white sailboat with black sails. So yes, there's a little bit more to it, but you know, if you've ever had a tour down below, once the race is over, or even during the race, if you need a timeout, you can go down below where it's nice and comfortable and beautiful and kind of hang out and have fun. Not that it's not fun to be up on the deck of the boat. Well, this is kind of going to be unique because it's the first time this has actually happened. So now some of the classics that were around, probably older boats. I'm not sure if Sally ever did Yachting Cup in 72 or 73. It might have been, by then she was in Newport and away from the club. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's a fun little course. Not a lot of upwind, downwind stuff, which some of the bigger boats would maybe be too much work for us. It's going to be light air. All the little boats will have a chance. The big boats won't be waterlining. And I think we'll just see how it fares out and get some feedback after the first couple of races this weekend, and you know, make it bigger and better next year. Everyone always wants to know, oh, was this boat hard to sail, or what's the basic cockpit layout is pretty conventional. Primary winches for the headsail, for the Genoa, and secondaries for running backstay, which is kind of a typical fractional rig boat. Permanent backstay. The big difference is the main sheet is up there, which is nice. One less person in the cockpit, and the main sheet guy or crew, we usually use it's three ladies usually that trim the main, get to hang out in the hatchway. So if they don't want to drown when we're sailing upwind, they can sneak into the hatch and reach through the hatch. And then all the halyards, there's no pit, so all the halyards are on the mast. We'll go up there and take a look at that. So this is as they say, old school. I don't know. This is the traditional, all the halyards on the mast setup. So this is your jib halyard winch. This is your topping lift winch. Your spinnaker winch. And you still jump the halyards at the mast just like you do on a modern boat. But the cockpit's small, so if everything were led back to the cockpit, we'd be eating each other's elbows. Other than that, it's pretty much a traditional, or not even traditional, what should I say? It's pretty much a modern sailboat. The pole looks scary, but it's spruce. It's not as light as carbon, but it's up there with the aluminum weighted pole. We fly masthead A sails instead of fractional symmetrical sails now. They're slightly cut down from Transpec 52s when they're not as crispy and brand new as they want. They pitch them and I take them off their hands. We set the kite with tacked to the front of the boat, and then we transfer to the pole. We do have some symmetrical spinnakers we fly if we're doing something that makes sense for that. Other than that, it's kind of the same deal. They're big sails. The masthead kites are big sails to get up and down, so it's a little challenging, but it gives the crew a workout. And this is probably a fitting season. We did opening day race. We just won opening day inspection, which was always fun. And then 2 days of sailing this weekend. Next weekend's Yesteryear Regatta. We have a few weeks off. And then we have the Kettenberg Regatta in June. Then late July, we're up to Los Angeles for the rest of the Classic Series. We have a race in LA, a lay day week in Catalina, then up to Channel Islands Harbor for the McNish race, which is kind of the end of the Classic Boat Series, and that's kind of the mecca that all the classic boats try to get to. And then a cruise back home. And then before you know it, it's hot rum time. Well, Little Ensenada and then hot rum time. So busy schedule.